Colin, thank you for the introduction. And yes, I'm a citizen legislator that did help Russ Feingold retire because my election, my campaign is about freedom. And thank God that freedom still resonates in this country. I want to thank all of you, first of all, for coming here, for being involved and getting informed. It's critical. If we are going to preserve our freedom, we need citizens involved in this process. Now, the question of this panel is, why is it so hard to cut $1 trillion? Honestly, it's a pretty easy answer. It's not an easy solution. But the answer is because so many Americans are hooked on government. Because the left has been depressingly successful at creating a culture of entitlement and dependency. You really ought to take a look at the Heritage Foundation's recent release, their 2012 index on dependence on government. It shows that in 1962, there were 33.6 million people dependent on government. In 2010, that number had been raised to 91.2 million. Another pretty depressing figure is 3 years ago, there were only 30 million people, or there were 30 million people, on food stamps. Right now, today, there's 46 million people, and what's even more depressing is this administration touts that as a success. The Secretary of Agriculture actually said, it's the most direct form of stimulus. Folks, we know that's not a metric for success. That's a metric of failure. Now, because the left has been so relentless at creating this culture of entitlement and dependency, we have to recognize that far too many Americans have forgotten the foundational premise of this nation. They've forgotten what our founders knew. And it's simply that, by and large, government is something to fear. Our founders came from dictatorial monarchies and aristocracies. They knew that as government grew, our freedoms receded. And so now we're faced in a situation today that far too many Americans look to the government, the federal government, for a solution. Far too many Americans have traded and willingly traded their freedoms for a false sense of security. Anybody feeling particularly secure? We're not feeling secure because government is not the solution. As Ronald Reagan said, by and large, more often than not, the government is part of the problem. I'm a manufacturer. I look for the root cause. I think the size of government is the root cause. The size, the scope, all the rules, the regulations, the government intrusion in our lives, the costs of government, that's the problem. In the end, socialism's a number. It's the size of government in relationship to our economy, and that metric for America is not good. 100 years ago, the federal government was 2% of our economy. State and local governments were 5%. So total government was 7%. 7 cents of every dollar filtered through the government 100 years ago. Last year, the federal government was 24%. Add on state and local governments, total government now is 39.2% of our economy. 39 cents of every dollar filters through some form of government. And I don't know about you folks, but I don't find government particularly effective or efficient. Now, let me make that relative. Let me put that in perspective. Norway spends 40%. Greece, have you heard of Greece recently? 47%. Italy's 49%. France is 53%. Congratulations, America. We have arrived at the lower level of European-style socialism. The result? We're bankrupting this nation. It's why I ran. We're bankrupting this nation. And the solution here in Washington? Gee, there is no solution. Why? Because we have a president that fails to lead on this issue. His solution, well, he's running for re-election. And he's doing it in a very cynical way by pitting one group of Americans against another. He's relying on class warfare, class division, to pull himself over the finish line. He's going to demonize, he's going to punish success. And of course, we know that is not what made America great. It's freedom, it's the free market system. It's people aspiring to be everything they could possibly be in life. That is what made America, with 5% of the world's population, we produce 20% of the world's goods. That's a marvel, it's a phenomenon. And this president does not understand that, and that's a shame. That's a shame. You know, I think the best article I saw written on President Obama's scapegoating was by Charles Krauthammer, and this is to paraphrase his final paragraph. He said, "This president is too intelligent not to realize what he is unleashing on America. But if it helps him get reelected, he doesn't care." That's what we're up against. You know, I realize the American people want us to solve the problem. I came here willing to work with anyone who is genuine in their desire to work for solutions. Work with me in good faith to do that. This president is not one of those individuals. So what that tells me, the fact that he is not working with us in good faith, just running for re-election, that tells me President Obama is not someone we can compromise with. President Obama is someone we must defeat. And that's where you come in. That's why I'm so grateful that you're here being involved. We need to change the culture. We need more allies here in Washington. You know, I thought you sent a pretty loud signal in November 2010. I was part of that message. But apparently people in Washington did not hear that message, so we got to send a louder signal in 2012, and then 14, and 16, and 18, and 2020. We must be every bit as relentless as the left. That's your charge. So let me conclude so we can go to the panel. God bless your efforts, and God bless America. Thank you.